Hello. I'm Chris J. Evans. I am an international wedding photographer based in Southern California. I'm so excited to share a little bit of my story with you. Over the years, my photography has definitely evolved. I think like all artists, it's impossible not to evolve as an artist. We're always striving to create something bigger, better, more beautiful, more stylistically aligned with where we are in the moment than we did the year before, the decade before. For me, when I first started doing weddings, I was trying to be a wedding photographer, shooting weddings. My background wasn't in weddings. It was in fashion and editorial. And it was this aha moment I had when I was producing my very first bridal editorial. It was actually for a workshop. And this was the first time I shot models in wedding dresses. I had shot models forever, but never in the space of bridal. And it was that moment, nearly 13 years ago, I had my aha moment. It was, I'm not going to be a wedding photographer. I'm going to be a fashion photographer that shoots weddings. And from that moment, that split-second decision, it fundamentally changed everything I know and do and perform about weddings. I was no longer trying to chase just that wedding photographer image. I was trying to create fashion images on a wedding day for the bride, the groom, her family, her friends. And that really kickstarted this entire, I don't want to take credit for the editorial wedding thing, but I've been doing it a very, very long time. The evolution of my branding came fully aligned as well. Mind you, in 2013, we had every photographer, a lot of wedding photographers had a watercolor like splash, a brush logo. I knew that wasn't going to separate me from the pack. I've always been inspired by fashion and style. I love Prada cologne. So I took basically the Prada Sport cologne bottle and modeled my very first logo after that. Red, black, and white, same colors, maybe even the same fonts. And from shooting my first wedding, within 3 years, I had built the top photography house in the state of Hawaii when I was living in Maui. So branding and evolution and finding my style was so important to the beginning of my career. Throughout the journey, I've had some incredible turning points and some amazing milestones, from connecting early on with Shep Gordon. He's a legendary manager. He managed Alice Cooper and so many other artists. I connected with him through Rest Her Soul, Nancy Miola on Maui. She was one of the people that fundamentally forged my career. She passed a few years back, and my heart goes out to her family, but she introduced me to Shep. And through that relationship, I was able to photograph both of Alice Cooper's daughters' weddings. Both of those really skyrocketed me in the industry. It was my first time doing a celebrity wedding, and that opened so many doors, and that was a major turning point. Another one came 2 years ago. I had the opportunity to photograph Robin Roberts' wedding from Good Morning America, and she is such an icon, and to celebrate her love story with Amber was just, it was such a special, it was a really special wedding, and that was one of those viral wedding events that it went global overnight. It was really spectacular, and again, that was another turning point that my career really took a whole nother skyrocket. So thank you to Robin and to Joanne Grigoli, the planner on that one, who gave me a really big opportunity. Throughout the journey, when you're shooting weddings, you know, I think as every artist is getting started within a new medium or genre, I think a lot of us have this like, oh, it's just not good enough yet. We just have these moments where we kind of struggle, maybe self-doubt. I think for me, the turning point when I realized that my work was becoming more valuable was really in the because I started before Instagram. So I remember clearly when Instagram really started to become a major hub for showing not just what we ate for lunch or those other things, but became a major hub for sharing artistic work. So I think it was when I started to catch when my work started to catch the attention of photographers I admire, and I started getting, I don't want to name drop, but when I started getting people I admire chiming in on my photos and telling me that they're starting to inspire them, for me, that was a major turning point where I realized, okay, I'm producing work that's on the level. And if the people I looked up to most are admiring my work and giving me praise, then I knew I was on the right track. And from there, it was a constant state of refine, refine, refine. How can I strip away as many elements as possible and get to the core of what I feel is a great photograph, especially in the world of weddings? It's so saturated. And for me, that came down to a very simple mantra. And for me, it's seek the truth and reveal the beauty. And what that means, it's such a powerful statement. I'm going to say it again. Seek the truth and reveal the beauty. No two people look at each other the same way. No two people stand the same way. No two people love the same way, dance the same way. So why are so many photographers just doing the same pose and the same look at your partner the same way each and every time? That doesn't make any sense to me. It no longer inspired me. And in the beginning, I was guilty of this as well. But once I've developed this mantra where I'm actually observing first and foremost how they're standing, how they love each other, capturing that raw, real authenticity in that moment that is absolutely true between them. And then and only then, when I see the elements come all aligned, then will I chime in and say, hey, why don't you put a little weight on this leg or drop a shoulder, look at me like this. Then I can tweak, because then I've already revealed who they are. And when you can capture the truth in not only a person's in their physical space, but a truth in their love story and who they are and how they love, that is the most beautiful thing you can capture. And that's what I strive above all else to do. Being a wedding photographer, a photographer in general, but specifically to the genre of weddings, which is where I've built my career, skills play such an important part. We have to not only have an absolute command and mastery of our equipment, because we don't get a second chance. They come down the aisle, oh, wait a minute, sorry, the exposure was off. Let's do that again from the top. There's no second chances in weddings. It's everything, everywhere, all at once. And if you don't have complete and total mastery of your equipment, it can be very easy to fall short. So what I love most about the genre of weddings is I get to be a product photographer. I get to be a photojournalist. I get to be a fashion photographer. I get to be a portrait photographer. I get to use every single element that I love most about photography on one incredible day. And they feed me incredible food on top of it. It's a total win-win. I love it. I have been leaning into, in the beginning of my career, I was very heavy in off-camera flash. I used to do a lot of backlight stuff, a lot of very dramatic things. And then the landscape sort of shifted away from that. It was the Jose Villa era where everything was just very pretty, very perfect, pastel, natural light. I leaned in on that for many years. And I think now I'm kind of moving back into a little more drama, adding a little more light, accepting and embracing and really seeking more imperfect moments that, again, seek more truth to reveal more beauty. So I think it's this combination now. A lot of people have been talking about the current trends in wedding photography as far as like blurry photos or crooked photos. But I think it's great because it's a natural expression of a moment, and we're trying to create a vibe. And today's couples and clients, above all else, they just want vibe. They don't want the same image that their friends have. They don't want the same image that their parents have. They don't want this, they don't want anything that they've seen before, because they've seen everything. So I feel the state of the industry is really incredible, where we can take all of our skills and all of our techniques, and when you can really utterly tailor that in a creative way that is just for the person in front of your lens, I'm very excited about that. And that's one of the things that continues to drive me, is how I can create an image that's so utterly authentic to the person in front of my lens that that's a photograph that they celebrate for the end of time. How do I continue to challenge myself creatively? One of my early mentors, John Dolan, he was giving me a portfolio review in Ireland, of all places, at the Adair Manor. It was an incredible experience. And he's looking through my images, and he was being very honest. And he's like, I see the hero shots. You're telling this beautiful story. He's like, I see all these amazing things happening. You're using lights. You got all the stuff, like the high production values existing in these images. But he was the one that told me, he says, but what I don't see is the truth. And he challenged me. He challenged me then and there. He said, on your next wedding, I only want you to bring one camera and one lens. One camera and one lens. No flashes, no stands, no reflectors, nothing. One camera and one lens. And seek the truth. And that has fundamentally, that moment is what fundamentally changed my style forevermore, because when you're no longer trying to just harness a technique, or to just harness light, or use gear, or create an artificial vibe using extra equipment, and you're forced to just create a beautiful image in a split-second amount of time with the simplest, easiest amount of gear, well, all of a sudden you strip away all the fluff. You strip away all the smoke. You strip away everything that doesn't truly matter. And still to this day, camera A, when I'm shooting your wedding, it's going to be a 50 millimeter lens that never comes off, that camera A. It is on there all day long, does not come off. I've built my entire career on a 50 millimeter lens. So it's like the simplest gear. I have another camera, that one will get some different lenses, but to challenge myself constantly is, how can I tell the most incredible story possible with the least amount of equipment? You will never ever see me with cameras hanging off my body. You will never ever see me with any kind of fanny pack and lenses and equipment and all this stuff. I will just be in my suit with one camera in my hand at a time, seeking the truth and revealing the beauty. The most impactful lesson I've learned in building a brand, if you're just trying to sell photography, man, do you have a lot of competition. If you're just trying to sell your photos, you are competing against every single photographer that is working at the moment. What I learned is when you shift your mindset to no longer selling photography, but selling an experience and delivering photography, well, you have fundamentally eliminated 99% of the competition, because there's only one person that can deliver the experience you deliver, and that is you. Full stop. I deliver photography and I sell an experience. And what that means to me is an experience where I've been so blessed and so grateful to be invited into some of the most influential people of our time, into their lives and into their worlds and into their spaces, to travel with them and to enjoy the hotels and the luxury experiences that they enjoy. So when I walk into a room, my mindset is already so aligned with the level of expectations that they have for the experiences that they invest in. And that is the experience. So the more you can tell your story, the more you can be aligned with style and taste of your perfect client, well, the more seamlessly you're going to attract them. Because luxury isn't always about being the most expensive. It's always about being the most aligned. What experiences or clients have helped me grow the most? The challenging ones, you know, we all have them. I would be absolutely sitting here lying through my teeth if I told you every single job was perfect and every single client was always happy and every single photograph was amazing. That's just not true. I love a job well done, but we don't learn a thing from a job well done. I have learned my biggest lessons and I've had the most massive growth on the things that haven't worked out right. I often joke, it's like, I'm not just getting paid for everything that's going to go right. I'm going paid for everything that could possibly go wrong. And does it? Or how many solutions do I have to any single problem that could arise? And that comes from experience. And I know there's a lot of incredibly talented new people entering the market every single day that have like great images and great photos, great personalities, but have they photographed 600 weddings? Have they had torrential rain pours come in? Have they had a bride pass out from heat exhaustion? Have they had all of these problems and all of these crazy situations that they had to work through, not only with style, but had to work through with grace and ultimately had to work through with gratitude? Because until you have conquered so many challenges, then you're just talented, but you're not experienced. And that, I think, has been the greatest part of my journey and my career. Is I've done over 500 weddings. I've been around the world. I've solved so many problems. So for me to be able to create beautiful images and knowing that no matter what happens, we have 6 solutions to the problem, that gives me so much confidence, not just in my craft, but in my experience and my ability to deliver no matter what. How do I track my own progress and improvement? I think as an artist, you just kind of know sometimes. I mean, I'll look at images now and I'm like, wow, I love that. That to me, when I look at a certain image, I'm like, okay, that shows a refined level of taste, a refined moment. When I clicked that button that was more definitive of a moment than last year, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I think, the obvious measure is, are you booking more work? Are you continuing to be successful? That's an obvious measure, but that's not a creative measure. So for me, it's when I'm looking back at my images from a wedding, because in the moment, we're in the moment, right? And I know when I get something good, but it's not until we get home, we load them up on the screen, and we really get to relive that day. Do we really get to see the full scope of the work we produced? So for me, it's really in those moments when I'm looking at that gallery and I'm excited and I'm inspired from what was created. To me, that's the ultimate measure. And then, we put it out there on social, and if it gets published and people like it and it goes viral, that's another obvious metric. But first and foremost, like Rick Rubin says, I'm not producing this work for anyone else. I'm producing it for myself first, because if I think it's great, it's going to resonate. And that's what I really chase. I still see so many incredible weddings every single day out there that my friends are photographing that are so inspiring and so big and such immaculate levels of decor and celebration. I'm just so continually driven to tell love stories for incredible couples that inspire me truly, not only as an artist, but for couples that inspire me professionally, stylistically, with their taste, their friends group, their relationship with their family. I get so inspired by entering the lives of incredible people that I will never stop striving to be the one invited to capture those days. It truly is a passion. I love it. When I hear people, they're like, oh, I'm getting burnt out, or I don't know how many more seasons I got in me. It's like, well, you're not attracting the right clients. You know, I only say yes to clients that inspire me. I only want to take a photograph I would want to be in, that I'd want to see my loved ones in. And when I enter this experience and that exchange of energy with my most aligned clients, I am so excited and I'm so inspired that I just want to do that for as long as I possibly can. And you know, the brides are getting younger and younger, and I'm getting older, but as long as they still think I'm cool, I love this job and I want to be invited into their worlds for as long as I possibly can, because I truly love it. And I think this is not an industry for the timid or the weak at heart. You have to be bold, you have to have a point of view, and you have to truly, truly, truly believe in yourself as an artist, and most importantly, as a curator of incredible experiences. I'm Chris J. Evans. It was such a pleasure talking with you today. You can find me online at chrisjevans.com, Chris J. Evans Photo on Instagram and TikTok, and we will see you soon.